two, three, four.
Back on the air for another week. Chip Lyness along with guest host Louie Herron from Louie Herron Toyota. Great to see you, Louie.
Good to see you, man. We're running hard, huh?
Both of us going
Springtime, hard. I know. But it's a great day, and great day to buy a car if you're thinking about it. You can come out to Milledgeville, right? Or,
you got it. Or the Lake Lot.
That's right. Either one. We've been talking about 10 steps in buying a pre-owned car. We want to kind of close that down. We've talked about a lot of different stuff, but before we do, definitely want to make sure that everybody knows theautoschool.com. That's where you really want to get the information you need to make a well-informed decision. There's so many different scenarios of a car deal: interest rate, trade values, fuel economy, depreciation, residual values, you name it, that you got to know about it. And that website is a comprehensive site that I think if you haven't been on there, you really need to check it out. And you can also be a Facebook fan of Louie Herron Toyota, and all these shows that Chip and I do, they're reposted, and you can go back and listen to them because, obviously if you're listening now, you may not, if you're in your car, you're not going to be able to write anything down. It may be hard to remember, but they're all there. So you can come check it out. Right, Chip?
Absolutely. And yeah, theautoschool.com, a plethora of information.
Plethora. That's exactly right. So we can get right into it. I have some automotive news, and during the next break, I'm going to get through some automotive news, something of interest. But now we're talking about buying a pre-owned car. We talked about the first show was just talking about why you would want to buy one, which, quickly we talked about depreciation, saving money, a one-year-old car. You save a boatload of money by doing it that way. Then we got into the inspections, and we talked about the warranties. And then we talked about some of the research, not just the generic research of how to buy a car in terms of what you're looking for. We talked about the true cost of ownership, the true market value of the car. We talked about the value of Carfaxes and auto checks, and those are huge. And then the last thing we talked about was service tickets. You remember what we said about that, Chip?
Yeah, you gotta save them.
You got to save the service tickets, but also too, if you're buying a used car, you need to ask the dealer, let me see the service records on this car, and specifically the records that you did when you took the car on trade, whether you bought it or whether you traded for it from a consumer, because that will have some information on there as well. And again, no dealer should have any problem sharing that with you, because as a dealer, I will tell you, there are some services we decline, because some services can be pricey, but if the car is roadworthy and it's safe and we've covered all the cosmetic things we needed to, then there could be a couple items that you still may want to get done. And that's important for you to know versus buy a car and then realize later, 13 months later, something could have been done that you could have negotiated up front. And so that's a very, very important thing. So one thing we didn't talk about when you're talking about 10 steps in buying a pre-owned car, and this kind of goes for new and used, you can find this on theautoschool.com. And also there's a link of Edmunds.com, but we need to talk about affordability calculators. Now, again, this is a very basic thing, but a lot of people don't take the time to slow down and look at it, because when you're looking at a used car, or new for that matter, but we're talking specifically used, you want to make sure you can afford the car, right, Chip?
Right.
I mean, you want to make sure. So how do you do that? Well, there's monthly calculators, there is down payment calculators, there's a total budget calculation that you can do, where you have the opportunity to really just slow down and put in everything that you have regarding what's going on in your life financially, and then it can calculate and then spit out a payment for you of what you can actually afford. And so now you can start with, okay, I know that I can afford a $337 payment, let's just say, and then you can go a step further and figure out what car can I buy for that kind of money. And so it'll tell you the dollar amounts of what you can use. $337 may be $15,000 drive out based on a 5-year finance. And so you can play with those calculators. And again, you can get one of the things that I like is bankrate.com, which is also on the Auto School. Right on the homepage, you can click on it, because they go into lease calculators. If you're interested in a new car, they go into deeper calculations. Should I take the rebate or should I take the incentivized interest rate? So again, that's a new car question, but the point is you want to make sure you're checking out these calculators. So very, very important. When we come back from the break, I want to get into some finance options, things you can do as far as what you should do as far as a tip when you're buying a used car as it relates to financing the car.
Yeah. Quick question on that, Louie, before we go to a break. That's calculating the payment of the car, but we've talked about it before. You've got insurance, you've got gas.
Oh, yeah.
You got to
absolutely.
Will all that go into it?
Yeah, on the budget calculators, you figure all that stuff in, because that's a great point. Because a lot of people may think that I can afford, like if you look at your own budget and you say, well, I'm paying $350 a month now, I can go up to $400. Well, depending on the car, there's insurance, there's maintenance. I mean, you could be going from a 2-wheel drive truck to a 4-wheel drive truck. You could go to a diesel. There are different factors that need to be involved, and these calculators can budget all that stuff out. Once you put the information in, you may realize that you could go a little more than you thought, or you may realize that, you know what, I thought I can go from $350 to $400, but I better stay around $350 because the fuel economy is going to go up $28 a month. The insurance is going to go up, $17 a month. And all those may be incremental dollars that you didn't expect that are more than you're currently paying on your trade-in or if you have no car.
Gotcha.
So something to consider.
All important. All right. It's Chip and Louie. It's the Auto Show. We're talking about buying tips for used cars. Hang with us. We're going to save you some money. Catch us every week at this time on Doc 103.9. More coming up on the Doc.